so now, because Marty DeGarmo set a world record live yesterday, he kind of took a little time away from me, but that's okay because it was a great world record live and a long one. And there was some things I wanted to say, but I knew we had to do some more webinars, so I held it for today. Now, I told you yesterday on my live that I'm going to tell you something through a comparison of statistics, why and how Onpassive is going to be so great and is so great. So bear with me here. I'm going to break it down. Now, I'm going to use Facebook as much as I don't want to, but I have to, because that's the only way I can explain this. Now, Facebook started in 2004, okay? Pretty much of an idea popped in the guy's head from another idea, okay? In less than a year, they had 1 million users or subscribers. Pretty cool, right? Now, by 2005, they had 6 million users. And I'm going to go down the list. 2006, 12 million users. 2007, 58 million users. 2010, 500 million users. 2011, they opened a data center. What a ways away. You're thinking, I know you're thinking about this. All right. 2016, they had 1 billion with a B users. 2018, 2 billion. Now, in 2022, they've got 2.9 billion users. Now, in the process of between 2010 and 2022, they opened a thing called Marketplace, and they also opened an app, okay? Which at the end of 2021, the app, it was losing 500,000 people a day, probably from poor planning, okay? Now, why am I saying all this? Because I want you to understand that Onpassive was one thing. It was basically, Facebook was one thing. It was basically a platform for social media. And you understand when I'm telling you the numbers, how it grew. Now, remember this, not till 2011 did they open a data center, okay? And it took them about a year once they went live to get 1 million subscribers. So here's what I'm trying to say. Onpassive has not gone live yet. 1,300,000 customers before we even go live. Data center, we'll find a little bit more about Friday. You guys get what I'm saying? Before we go live, the king, Mr. Ashbefora, Mr. Phenomenal, I call him, genius, because he thought of these things through. He looked at what other people were doing, where they failed, and he said, that's not going to happen with Onpassive, okay? So in a course of what, 20-some years, 19 years, look what Facebook did. And let me throw the kicker in. Let me throw the biggest kicker in. Did people earn a residual income? No, they got on there and they told their status, their relationship. Woohoo! Guess what the world's going to see? Residual income, helping out. Did Facebook help out with humanity? No, as a matter of fact, they did a lot of things wrong and it did damage them. It hurt them. What does Ash Mafara say? That's not going to happen with Onpassive. We're going to do it right. We're going to make sure every regulation in every single government is followed through to a T. All right. All that stuff, believe it or not, Facebook had against them, and look how they grew. Now you got Onpassive that comes along. That's going to, number one, earn you a residual income for doing nothing, by the way. I always love to say that. Data center, before we launch, 1,300,000 plus right now, customers before we launch. We're already whooping their butts, to say in a nice way, and I'm not being trying to compete with them. I'm just trying to show you their numbers, their stats, and what they did, and people were not even earning money until later between 2016 and 2022, and it was selling things. It wasn't nothing like Onpassive. What do we got? 50 products? Digital, AI-induced, physical products, physical labs to invent, build, and design these products that's going to change the world. 2 right now are done, and 1, Ash Mafara said, we'll change the world. We'll change the face of the world. We'll paint the world a new color, okay? Data center? Come on, you guys. If you don't understand how big Onpassive is, I just broke it down for you.